change of clothes. It was appealed to the circuit court. His legal smart aleck set it up that was confirmed for a year, and it was so bad that a barrister got on to us, came out to Pat and myself and pleaded with us to take our case. We did, and when I realised who was there, I knew she was a Republican supporter and so was her family, so I was pushing open door when I got her to cooperate. But she was also the sort of person that nothing could get her down, and she came to visit us one Easter morning with a massive, after we won the case, with a massive Easter egg and full of the joys of spring in a new outfit. There we both, the sad thing about it, she won the case for other women, but her husband finally got her. She had a few drinks in, her ex-husband finally got her and she knew the puppy was in. And 3 days before she had been allowed back into her house and have everything handed to her on a plate, she had a few drinks in, got a taxi up to the pub where he was assaulted him, and that was that. She lost everything, but she gained everything, and thanks to her, something like 500,000 women by 2015 will have stood in Irish courts of law with legal representation. So God rest her, she did that for other women even though she didn't benefit herself. And I was thinking that Easter morning coming in, I could hear her downstairs with Pat, and I was up in the library writing, and she was on the doorstep laughing and joking and full of the joys of Easter, as I say. And I was just thinking, if she was the one who had been at the garden at Gethsemane that morning instead of Mary Magdalene, what sort of an account would she give? There we both was on the road to the garden, and it wasn't dark either, it was almost full light. And I sees it first, says I, look over there standing. Oh, I'm telling you, girl, I was shaking with fright. How do I know? Of course it was him. No, not like in the cross, not that way at all. More to my mind like the time he was starting. He up at Galilee propped up by a wall. Or maybe that time he was on the mountain. And I could not think of the half what he said. But he looked at me now, his eyes kind of smiling. And every last word came back in me head. That's the God's truth as it happened, I'm telling you. Believe it or not, I don't care what I said. Be that into throws for sure as I'm standing. Devil a doubt, but 'tis Jesus himself and he's back from the dead. Limitations. This, I had my first poem published in 1966, and I came to the notice of the powers that be and started to take part in poetry readings in 67 and 68. And it soon became obvious to me that if I was going to make it into charts and journals and all the rest of that, I'd have to leave my own poetry behind. So I made a conscious decision, and it wasn't too much of a decision to make, no more than it was to give up chemo. It was the right thing to do, to stick with the bardic tradition and what I had grown up in. Good to know one's limitations and to have no expectations about joining the exalted circle of critic and poet. Regularly reviewing roles, teach, review what the other wrote in subsidized publications. Instead content with simple things, the arcane line that sings, giving meaning to the soft candlelit page. Another link that timeless, the pull of hidden strings tells puppets on the stage. Outside a storm rage and lashes the night. Here, content with the living word, I hold to pass the light. I had a very nice email before coming out this evening from Father O'Riordan. I'd invited him to the wedding in the 15th of September, and he had other commitments, as I knew he had. He probably would have, but he said he would go down that morning and light a candle in Government's old church. And he finished in Irish and saying, beneath the hem of Government's garment, may the two of you be for that day and your remaining days. And it brought me in mind of another poem there now. Alarm. One time the Muskerry army was away and they had been blindsided because they were led into a false battle where the real battle, the army of renegades that were going to raid Muskerry, had gathered in a nearby hill, and as soon as the Muskerry army was gone, they hid off what they thought was an invasion. These people literally came in by the back way, and it was rape, plunder, massacre waiting. Government pulled out 30 nuns, saved the day. Alarm call, no warriors in camp. They looked to her for protection. Can her words, simple instruction, a promise, no lives would be lost, the least would protect the most. Closed around her sure words, white as an offertory procession party. She led them out across the valley, confident each standing pair placed, where women the coming marauders faced. Centred on rape, pillage and plunder, the raiders poured over the ravine, checked, strange sight of women standing calmly holding beehives, seeming fearless for safety lives. Warriors caution, slow advance, again stopping at cast of spear. Instinct shouted a warning, fear. Voice of prayer, sharp command spoke. Quickly, the 50 straw beehives broke. Enraged, focusing anger to anger, no protection, leather shield, armour, 1,000 stinging arrows found the warrior, a mass of howling anguish, panicked, fled from the quiet praying lines of sisterhood. An interlude in the day, bird song was again returning to the valley, as she too led home a singing party. Campanile, Government, Mother of Grace, with words and wisdom, had held their peace. There's a belief in Irish Occult Road that when somebody died, they just don't go straight from this world. They recreate the world where they were happiest, and they visit that in energy and in imagination, and they have time to adjust between the life state and the dead state there before going on. This I did for Pat and for her family the evening her mother died. They grew up in a working class area of Glasgow that was as bad as any of the worst areas here in Limerick, in Maryhill in Glasgow. It was fairly rough. It's where Ralph Nesbitt series is set. And to give her family a chance and keep them away and break the cycle, she took them out every weekend she could up to around Loch Lomond and the hillsides and told them the stories of home and brought them up in another value system instead of the street value system. Did you walk again Loch Lomond hills with the waters bright beneath? Sharp torn winds in full yellow bloom, the purples on the heat, while gentle winds blowing up the glen made water ripples run, each sparkling wave a golden sheen in the setting evening sun. And did you remember bygone times as a winsome tear you cried, thinking of your children's play or their footsteps at your side, when you brought them here from city streets to the birdsongs and the bees, with child and grandchild you now live on in memories such as these? Did you pause and linger there to recall your early life, but vanish now all pain and tears, worry, work and strife? So look around you one last time with eyes that now can see. The smiling man that calls to you is Mary's son from Galilee. With us, Con Houlihan, during the week, Con was a character and a half. He was one of the old scholars. He knew Latin, he knew Greek. He had the most wonderful, soft, caressing Irish, or when he went into anger in Irish with a poem, he was fearsome to behold. And Con was all right with a few friends from back at home, but people always crowded in for what he had to say. And then he literally put a hand over his face, looked out over the top of his hand, and mumbled away, and people only got a word in 4 or a word in 5. And he had that trait all his life. And he was immersed at writing. And Hartnett one time, he gave Hartnett a couple of paragraphs or something he had written with Hartnett the poet. And Hartnett was Jesus, and he'd have another go of it and put it back in the pocket and have another drink. And Hartnett was like this. And somebody said to Hartnett, have you any look with Con? For Christ's sake, he said, Con's writing is like a spider's attempt to make a web after a Listowel Writers' Week pub crawl. And he was also a big awkward man that sort of went around, and yet he could be very light and graceful and sweet. A big shambles of a man, he looked a hillside farmer in town for a fair day. Words voluble, wondrous mumble, always something worthwhile to say. Latin quote followed by erudite story, Gaelic, soft caressing your strident fears. As at home with Homer as Padraig Keith, knowing and glossing stories of old Greece. English of Shakespeare and Goldsmith, of Sir Walter, Sheehan, heritage of Glen. Dozens of intersecting gatherings flowed a seamless whole from his pen. Hartnett, trying to puzzle a paragraph, once described his written open scrawl as like a spider attempting to make a web after a Listowel Writers' Week pub crawl. Now gone, I will fondly remember him, not with an iconic hand hiding lower face, but with open smiles and eyes alight, as we both discussed our native place. And the final one now, and I'll close on that if I can find. Well, final 2, is it? Yeah. Western Slope. This is the mystical way of St. James for psychological path to go for ascent into spiritual path and freedom. First go to the peak of the mountain, the highest mountain, with a clear view of all the long valleys below, where big hills are relative, and a thin silver shining thread delineates river flow from an earth lake water. Second, there be content, satisfied in solitude. The pathways you have climbed are not for the teeming multitude. To another climber, what can you say? Each must eventually climb in their own found way. Third, even on your dizzy heights, what's then? Back to some remote glen that you now can clearly see, devoid of all its mystery, far better from where you are, to reach to the far better from where you now finally are, to reach for the furthest star, than drop the secure ledge with its lonely crumbling edge. Fourth, now that you're there, what now, what colour your cloak, your hair, skin, all is unseen to those beneath. What matters is that here, where earth and sky meet, all is now firmly one, pleasure, pain, sorrow, sin, above, below, without, within, and final, perfect fusion. Fifth, and that rare air, when only you are there, with sun, moon, stars, and sky, no more questioning how or why, no finder of the bowl, where all love springs, one pulse beat with creation, no surrender to elation, but savour the flowing river, and very softly sing. Now, I'll try for that final one. So you know somewhere, just bear with me for a minute. Yeah. Authenticity. By the way, I was joking inside in hospital when I got a reprieve from the operation that my collection of suffered death poems and cancer poems, that I was going to do my hospital poems in a collection called Funeral Deferred. Well, obviously, they had to be changed in title, and Funeral back on don't have the same ring to it, so any of you that can come up with a title, I welcome a suggestion. I am an authentic of my species, born in a cottage without running water, grandfather a farming man, uncle a fiddle master. Across the river slope of Ulla, the old echoes of Dedana, peeping round the Cummer bins, distant soar of Daw Creek Anna. My father's home a small farmhouse, just 2 rooms up, 2 down, at 4 compass pines, 4 villages, with dark, distant lights of a town. Our place a roving house, neighbours gathered nightly, eyeing bedtime's perched at stairs-head soaking up story. Followed the rhythms of season, of born calf, of milking cow, saw wet land hand drain, barefoot, follow the plough. Journey to school in callous soul, luxury contact with changing ground, shoes dangling from neck or hidden, until homewards meander found. Been a high dram of pig killing, pinion of men, terror squeal, desperate struggle and bare table, the final thrust of sharp steel. I can talk of fairy banshee and other things before, banished fear of and other things before electric light, banished fear of closing,